Hello YouTube world. Probably gonna be a short video this week. I have a lot more stuff going on. I'm still on the fence on a couple things, but I told you I was gonna get the ForScan. I got it hooked up on the computer, and you're not gonna want to miss what I found on the old F250. Okay folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing, and commenting. You've been very helpful in the comments, believe it or not. And you know, that's good. I need all the help I can get. Well guys, as I said, we did download the ForScan app, or I'm surely not an app. Well, maybe it is. Okay, but I have a Windows unit here. It's on an XL Acer computer. And I pretty much, man, sorry about camera movement. Let me try it. 3, 2, 1. I downloaded the ForScan app, like I said I was going to do, and I got the adapter, which is an ELM configuration with an HS and MS switch. But you can look all that stuff up online. They'll tell you a lot more about it and better than I can. So that's why I'm not doing a how-to on the ForScan, because I have no idea on most of it. But for what I do know, I have some good information here. If you've been following along on the program, on the episodes, the revival of this Ford F250 diesel, 7.3 liter Powerstroke to be exact, you will know that we encountered a transmission issue, erratic shifts, and it was almost like the torque converter wasn't engaging. The transmission felt like it was slipping. A whole host of things going down the road, almost to the point where I almost pulled over and called somebody to come drag me home. So that's not what we want. But I downloaded the ForScan technology to this Acer computer. It's running Windows 10, and like I said, you can Google online or look around on YouTube and find a lot of great videos on how to get this, download it, what you should have, how to go about it. I'm not going to do all that because that's not what this channel is about. I might later on show you a few things as I learn them, but as of right now, I'm basically running live stream data. And when I came into this, a lot of you guys may know this, if you have one of these old trucks, even though it's OBD2 compliant on the truck, which you should know what that is if you're watching this channel, but if it's OBD2 compliant, still a lot of scanners. I have a whole bunch of scanners, scan codes and things like that. Some pretty nice ones and some pretty not so nice ones, but those won't hook up to this particular truck. You can try all day long and you'll get nothing. There's no data, you'll get nothing. Well, I knew there had to be a code deep down in this truck after the way the transmission was acting on that, on a couple of the test drives. So I knew, hey, there's got to be a code here. That's why we went to the ForScan technology and downloaded the app. You can look all over the internet, and it seems to be the way to go when you're dealing with these trucks in particular. I've heard it's great on other things as well, but you know, like I said, we're dealing with F250. Anyway, enough blabbering. Yeah, almost enough blabbering. I hooked it up, and I did get some DTCs, some diagnostic trouble codes, 2 of them actually. One of them I disregarded because it was due to like battery voltage power, and the reason I didn't is because I took one of the batteries out of the truck, put it in another truck, and so it didn't have enough voltage. I was just trying to read. I wasn't trying to do key on, engine running. I was just trying to do key on, engine off, but it read 13.9 volts, and that's why on that. So, and you can see here in a minute, we're still having some kind of an issue there on voltage. But anyway, we'll move on from that. But I did get a diagnostic trouble code. Let me see if I can look up what the code actually was. Let me get it right. So I took a screenshot of the codes because I was kind of afraid it would erase them after it did it, and then it did erase the code. But P0708 and P0603, those are the 2 that came up on the scan when I did the scan. Okay, so it says that transmission range sensor is what the fault was, and that's what it kept getting. Well, tried to do a little more confirmation on that. I studied up a little bit more on the ForScan app, and as you can hear, I've got the truck running right now. I was just about to leave and take it on a test drive to kind of get an idea of what's going on. So I want to run through here and show you what I have on the live data and show you why I have it. Let's do that real quick. All right, let me get my mouse here. I'm used to running Apple products, so bear with me here. Let's see if I can get the shadow out of the way. Anyway, this APP percentage up here on the top, this is the accelerator pedal position. On these trucks, this is an actual fly-by-wire type accelerator on these trucks. So it is controlled by your accelerator. How much fuel you're delivering is actually controlled by the computer via this fly-by-wire sensor harness on this pedal. Pretty cool, I like it. Anyway, that's gauging that percentage there. Reason I have that on there is because we were having such a slipping type scenario. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't blinking out and telling the computer different things, making it possibly get different RPMs. So that's why I put it on here. Exhaust back pressure, voltage, and variable capacity sensor is what it is. It's got 0 to 5 volts signal that indicates exhaust back pressure. Low voltage indicates low pressure. High voltage indicates high pressure. So we have 110 volts is what I'm guessing that's showing. So I have to assume that's okay. Somebody knows, let me know. Diagnostic trouble codes, it's showing 2 right now. Okay, probably the same 2 that we already had. We're going to check that in a little bit. The IC, this is what I really like about this so far. If you are messing with any of these trucks, you know how important it is to know your ICP, injector control pressure, and it has a lot to do with your truck running. If you're going through this, and you can go back through the my other videos, you can kind of see that. The IPR percentage is the same thing. This injector control pressure regulator, very important. It looks like it's doing okay. Truck seems to be running fine. So, but here we are. Transmission range sensor. It's basically what this is going to record. It's going to indicate the transmission gear shift position. And there's more things on here, but right now I guess we'll concentrate more on that. The vehicle speed sensor, it does have a it shows the input signal, and it's going to show the miles per hour that we're going. I can kind of correlate that with what's going on up here on the speedometer to make sure that we're getting kind of similar readings. It probably won't be exact, but you know. And then this is a good, I like this part too. This vehicle speed sensor signal status. It shows no fault. That's a big deal. If you remember, we had some wiring on this truck back there at the vehicle speed sensor that was in all kinds of bad shape, and I repaired all that. But I like that this says no fault, because if we're driving along and it has a blip of a moment, it should record that. And that's going to be vital to us, because we're going to know that, hey, we're having an issue there, and that could have a lot to do with how it shifts, drivability, and all those things. Anyway, basically what I'm really looking at right now, I could clear everything out of here, but the one thing I'm looking at right now is this transmission range sensor. All right, I'm going to put this thing, it's in park right now, both on the shifter and what it's reading on the computer. It says I'm in neutral, right? I shifted to neutral. There's reverse, okay? When I go to drive, overdrive, which I want to show you here too, you click the overdrive off and it'll show drive down here now instead of overdrive. I'm going to turn the overdrive back on. Let me see. Get it down here. See? Okay, overdrive's back on. Bear with me. Neutral. Back into drive. I hope I'll be able to do this. Okay, so I'm in overdrive. I'm in drive right now. Overdrive's on. We'll pull back up here in the driveway. reverse, neutral, overdrive. Now here's the thing. I try to go from overdrive down to second or first. Watch this. Manual 2, no manual 1. I can't get to manual 1. Okay? And that's on the shifter. Alright. Back in overdrive according to this. Neutral is what. Alright, we are in neutral. But I go to overdrive. This thing will randomly. Now you gotta admit, I have to admit, this is a sloppy transmission shifter right now. Hopefully this is gonna work. Well, it did it a few minutes ago, but basically, I can't get it to repeat itself now. Just gonna sit here and hold it for a few minutes. What basically it was doing a few minutes ago is the overdrive was flickering from neutral to overdrive, neutral to overdrive. Okay? And it was kicking the truck in and out of gear without me touching the shifter. So that transmission range sensor, we have a wire, or that transmission range sensor is messing up, and that is probably all that's really wrong with this transmission. So I'm gonna try to take a little test drive here, and hopefully I can make it home if it goes acting stupid, but we're gonna try it. And I'm gonna try to hold the camera where it can be seen. You see, it's acting fine at the moment. It's shifting like it should and all that. As long as it's showing in overdrive, this truck runs fine. But when it starts showing overdrive to neutral, obviously that's not correct when it does that. I might not be able to get it to replicate it right now, but you guys are going to take my word for it. That's what we have going on. See, if you notice, it's in the R position right now because we're in reverse, turning around. Neutral, neutral, overdrive. So while this thing is showing in overdrive, it's running fine. See how it went to neutral, then back to overdrive. I think we caught it there. We have, I think, figured out our problem, guys. So here's what I'm gonna do, because I'm just this type of guy. We're gonna reload the parts cannon. We're gonna order us one of them there transmission range sensors. And we're gonna stick it on there. And when we stick it on there, I'm also going to do a heck of a test or a check on the wiring running down to the transmission range sensor. That's going to be the plan. This might be all for this video this week, guys. If it is, I apologize. I have a rent house that I've been working on, and it's getting the best of me at the moment. So hopefully I can get back out here and get to work on this truck, because this is my passion. This is what I want to fix. It's what I want to be doing. But if this happens to be it for this week's video, I want to tell you guys thank you for liking and subscribing. Hopefully I'll be able to add some more content to this week. But if not, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll get that transmission range sensor ordered, and we'll see if we can't get this thing fixed. Okay guys, there's no guarantees you're going to be able to see this. First time I've ever tried to really record going off a screen. On the ForScan, I do not have an actual play button to play back the live data stream. It does give you a lot of different options to watch for, though. This page here on this table seems to be one of the best ways to look at it. I want to point out transmission range is right here. Notice it says overdrive. Right below it, you have the voltage for the transmission range, transmission voltage for the transmission fluid temperature sensor, vehicle speed. Now this is important. You want vehicle speed on here because without that you wouldn't know that you're rolling, okay? And because we have a no fault on the vehicle speed sensor signal status, we can assume with a lot of certainty that the vehicle speed sensor is working properly. If you'll notice, it says we're going 16 miles an hour right now. The reason I went ahead and moved this forward, because it does it in such small increments that it's hard to do for filming. So I'm gonna sit here and click this, and I want you to keep an eye on the transmission range, which is in the OD right there. That's overdrive. And I want you to come down, and I want you to be looking at the VSS.OBD2 showing 17 miles an hour. All right, let's watch all of those two things in particular, but let's also watch the transmission voltage, which is right below the overdrive. I'm going to start clicking this, and this is going to take a few minutes, guys. We're at 25 miles an hour right there, okay? Notice we're still in overdrive. This is when we went on our test drive just a few minutes ago. Up to 40. Just keep an eye on that vehicle speed and that odometer, or the overdrive. We're 60 miles an hour right there. I was pretty much getting on it. Well, we're going to have a moment here where you're going to see we're at 66, 69. I hit 70 miles an hour. For just a brief second on the test run, trying to just get the transmission to do something. And you're just going to keep watching here. Notice how we're back down. Everything was fine. No faults. 12 miles an hour. 3, 2, 1 on the miles per hour. Notice there, okay, let me go back here. Make sure we're all on the same page. We're in overdrive right there. And the voltage is 3 volts, showing to be 2 miles an hour, okay? Now I want to watch this, because this is where we went, and this is the spot where we turned around. If you'll notice, it went from overdrive directly to reverse. It didn't register a neutral in that at all. It just went OGR. Okay. Now, still showing no fault. I'm still showing 2 miles an hour. Now, I did come to a complete stop before I went to reverse. Just keep that in mind. Let's keep an eye on it. This is me backing up. And I know a lot of people might be bored with this. Okay, see it neutral there. So we went to neutral at 0 miles an hour, okay? That's when we went from reverse to a neutral. And we're gonna probably hopefully go to overdrive. Let's see if it actually shows it. See, now we're back in overdrive. Now we've turned around on that test drive and we're headed back. Okay, a couple things I want to point out here. Notice how when it went from overdrive to reverse a few moments ago, we had no neutral. Neutral didn't flash up. I didn't see it. It possibly there. I am doing this in 10 increments. It might be there, but it didn't show it here, okay? So we're back in overdrive after going in reverse and backing out. We had no faults on that drive, on that part of the test drive. The fault occurs on the way back during this test drive. So we're on our way back now, okay? We're at 0 miles an hour, and we are headed back from turning around on this test drive. You notice values are starting to change. We're picking up a little speed, trying to force it to act stupid. 25, 20, 30 miles an hour now. Still showing overdrive. Still showing overdrive at 50 miles an hour. hoping it shows. There we went. We're at 57 miles an hour right there, guys. If you look at the vehicle speed, we're at 57 miles an hour and we are in neutral. Okay? It kicked out of overdrive into neutral at 57 miles an hour. You see that there, right, guys? Okay. I think you guys can see that. I'll try to zoom in if you can't. But we're neutral, 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 neutral at 60 miles an hour, and boom, it kicked back into overdrive. Okay, so that's basically, I don't really need to go any further here. That's what we're dealing with on this. That slippage that we thought we're feeling, right, is it's going from overdrive to neutral and then bouncing from neutral back to overdrive. That is the problem. I am going to change the transmission range sensor. But as you guys know, if you've been following along, we have an enormous amount of slack. A lot of play, a lot of slack in the shifter itself. I'm going to see if I can't find some kind of kit and get that fixed to firm that up along with this. And we'll check the wiring when we get the new sensor in to try to get it knocked out and fixed properly. But I wanted to point that out and show you this ForScan technology, recording and saving your live data. It actually is helpful. This gave me an opportunity to come back, bring the computer into the house, and go by piece, you know, and I kind of had it timed out as far as, you know, where we were on a test drive, and I tried to only record from the start of the video till the end of that clip on here, so we can, you know, it's easier to determine where we're at with that. So that right there is a really good reason why this ForScan technology is, in my personal opinion, so far, you know, I haven't used it on a lot, but just this one thing here has already paid for itself. Being able to figure this out without this would have been a lot harder. And this right here actually showed me the situation as it was occurring. Now, let's just look at a different way here. And I could be wrong on this, but I don't think I am. Let's say that it stayed in overdrive that whole time according to the transmission range sensor, okay? But we did know that it slipped, okay? That would then point me to, hey, maybe we have a torque converter problem. Maybe we have a solenoid problem. And possibly some burnt clutches in the transmission. Something's causing it to slip. That would have been the next direction I went with. But this staying in overdrive would have meant that to me. But this kicking from overdrive out into neutral when the event occurred on the transmission range sensor, that tells me that the issue is probably electrical and it's probably in that area. So, you know, like I said, not an expert, but I do believe that this right here narrowed it down for me. So onward and upward, we'll keep going here. Okay, we are back on the short week, short video week probably too. I don't want to apologize for the blurry footage. I'm hoping that you guys are going to be able to see what was actually happening in that video, or in that part of this video. If not, questions or comments, and then I'll try to help you figure out what it is that I was trying to show you. This thing took a little bit longer to get oil pressure up than what it's been normally doing, so that's something to, I'm gonna check out a little bit here. This thing takes 40 acres to turn. That's pretty much a fact. We're gonna pull it up underneath the carport today because we have a little bit of a mist and crap going on, and we're going to try to get the sloppiness fixed in this shifter. I want to make sure that I eliminate that as part of our problem with the transmission kicking in and out. Was able to actually get these parts at AutoZone, so we're going to try to attempt it. It's not that big a job, I don't think. but kind of crappy weather, so we'll see. Okay, here we are, guys. I do not know what size Torx bit this is because it's so rusty I couldn't read it, but it does fit. I'm going to take this panel here off to gain access to the bottom of the steering column, so we can try to get that off there to fix the sloppiness in this in the steering or in the shifter. So we're just going to take these out. I think there's 1, 2, I know there's 3, for at least 2. I'll say 2, maybe more. We'll see in just a second. Get this out. Just like that. Let's see if this will just pop down now. I'm not sure. Not sure. I'm sure there's probably something behind it. Well, I'm not sure it's supposed to go that way, but mine just popped out after taking these 2 screws out, so keep that in mind. It's a regular old Phillips screwdriver here. Try to get it up in there, and there it is. Some of these old trucks, you know, these screws have never even been out, so be careful not to strip them, because you could have a serious problem if you do. You would basically have to destroy the bottom half of this to get it out. There he is. There is another one right here. I think there might be another one up here too. Yeah, we have 3. Hopefully you guys will be able to see what I'm doing here. I got those screws out. This thing, you want to be careful. It's old brittle plastic. Oh yeah, forgot. I got to take off the dang, yeah, that thing. Ooh. There it went. Tilt. For your tilt steering, has to come out of that. Wow. Can you see what I'm doing? I don't know what size that is. I don't care what size it is. Ooh. I'm starting to wonder if I need to find what size it is. Hold that thought. There's a wrench size for this, but it had already been boogered up. Let me take a file to that, see if I can't clean it up to where a wrench actually fit on it. Come out there. Come on. There you go. Yeah, we'll make that work. Keep that close by. You're going to need to put it back on in a minute. Alright. Back to the show. I'm trying to figure that part right there out. I don't want to break it. There's some kind of little screw there. Surely not. Maybe? What is that? Yeah, there's a little screw right here, guys. The hidden feature. Man, why is everything so hard today? I don't know about you guys, but here lately, everything I do is difficult. Man, that screw is in there tight all the way. Holy cow. Come out of there. It's coming though. We'll get it. Come on. Alright, now it come out of there. So yeah, there's a screw, the back side of this goes in right there. Yep. I know we have to take the key out, so let me look under here. All right, to get the top part of this bezel off, you have to remove the key. It's pretty easy to do. We're going to turn it to the key on, engine off, not the start position, but just the on position. Come back underneath here, and there should be a pin right there. You see that? I'm going to mash that in and pull that out. Hopefully I can get it on film for you guys. And it should pop right out. Should pop right out. Just like that. We're going to set that to the side and hopefully keep it in the same orientation as it is right now. Okay, so we have that out. This should be able to raise up now, I believe. May have to put the tilt back in. And it just screws in. This side, like so. Definitely gonna try to lube some of this up. So it's in the down position now. Let me try to gently work this up. What the heck? This should just come right off. I may go ahead and take this off. It's already loose on there anyway. Oop, don't want to break anything. Don't want to break anything. What the hell is that? Out of there. There you go. Alright. Top off. And that shifter boot is pretty ragged. And it slips off. It's really not a screw on it. It's just kind of a tang of some kind that just holds on. I'm gonna try to just drag it off. Maybe, hopefully. I'm just gonna have to get a little rough with it. I don't know if I can do it one-handed or not. Definitely don't want to be breaking anything under here though. Tell you that. Let me see if I can get this off here, guys, and I'll be back with you. So this part just kind of slid down in its spot over here. This side here is the one giving me a little bit of fits, and I just got it off. Just kind of pry up on it with a flat blade on this, and it'll come off. You don't want to get rough in there. There are some stuff, some wires and things that you can tear up. I wish I had another boot to put on it. I don't. So I'll probably have to go back. You want to inspect this wire right here. This goes up to your overdrive light. And if it grounds out and gets a shave spot, it can cause this all kinds of fits. So you want to check that while you're in here as well. All right. I don't know if you can see it back in there, but it looks to me like that bushing is completely out. It is. I don't know if you can see me moving it back in there or not. Anyway, you will in a minute, because we're going to drop this down to gain better access to what's going on. But I want to kind of just give you guys a good look here at everything, how everything is on here, in case you are working on it and something comes off and you can't figure out where it goes. Maybe this will help you put it back together. This side as well. It helps when you take pictures and videos of stuff that you're doing. It really does. You get to a point where you can't figure something out. Sometimes you can go back and watch your video or look at your pictures and see what's happening and all that good stuff. So pretty dirty under here, But it's not a beautification project yet. This is a get it run project. Okay, so we have 13 millimeter on a 3/8 drive ratchet. I think that'll probably be enough to break it loose. You're gonna have 4 bolts, I believe. One here, one here, one here, and another one hidden back here. Right through there. What we're gonna do is we're gonna loosen these off, probably take the front 2 off, and just loosen the back 2 to drop this down far enough to do the procedure. We'll try it. Surprisingly enough, these were not very tight. I figured I'd have to put some effort in it to break them loose, but not so much. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and take these completely off on the front too. Because we have to have access, and you'll see in a minute, to the bushings of the front and the back. So I'm going to try to get you to where you can see this when it drops down. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to try this again, guys. I had to go and pretty much reformat the whole camera here. So I don't know exactly what all was shown or not, but basically we're going to undo and take out the first 2 nuts that hold the steering column on. Then we're going to lower the last 2 nuts on the back about an inch, inch and a half, not completely off. Then this steering column will then come down. So it's not that hard to do it. We've already got the front 2 are already out. The back one on this side is down. We're gonna try to get in here on it. If I can get in here on it. Oh, that's our front one there. Ford Tech Make You Loco channel on YouTube has great Ford videos, and he has a really good video on this process we're doing right here. So if you're really trying to learn how to do it, I'd go to his channel and check it out. If you're just following along because you're trying to keep up with the F-250 project, then yeah, stick with this one. We're just going to lower this down though, and I've got the seat pushed up so that the steering wheel can rest on the seat. That's a trick that he has on that video as well. Keep from putting any extra strain on any of the wiring, or anything like that as well. So by having that steering wheel up like that. Alright, so the steering column dropped, and there's access here now. And basically what we're trying to do is, you see this bushing right here. It's supposed to be underneath this cap. And I'm going to show you just by moving the shifter just how much slack is there. It's a ton. So we're going to get that repaired today. Also have the pin for here. This pin, I bought a new pin. I think we're gonna go ahead and replace it because there is some slack there. I wish I could drive something down in it to take up more of the slack. I don't know, I might check into that too, or a washer or something. But I'm gonna try to get this started here, and what we're gonna do is take these caps off and replace the bushings. Let's try it. So basically, my setup here, and I think I've got it size too small on the Torx bit. I'm going to try to use it, but I'm using a 1/4 inch drive ratchet with a socket, 1/4 inch socket, holding in the Torx bit. That gives me enough clearance, hopefully, to get these off. So that's how I'm going to approach it, and see what happens here. Yeah, that's really way too loose. Wow. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Abort, abort. Alright, got my magnet here. Hopefully was able to grab it. That's good. Alright. So I'm going to take this one up pretty high. Let's see if I can get this old bushing off. That's what the bushing looks like. That one's pretty mangled. What I'm going to try to do, I was hoping that would fit, but no. Just because that doesn't fit exactly right, it's giving me problems. So it may be time for some electrical tape. Sorry about the terrible camera work, guys. These were not very tight at all. So I'm going to try to get on these back 2 bolts. You can see them back in there, I think. Right there and right there. It's going to be a little more difficult to get on, but it can be done. And especially using the setup that I have. And so I'm going to get on them real quick and see if I can get those broke loose. Just kind of want to show you too. I went and got some electrical tape here, and this helps to keep the bit from falling out. Especially when I go back in that hole back there, you don't want it falling out and getting jammed up where you can't get it out. So this will just help hold it on while I try to get it off there. Seems like everything I've done lately, the lighting's been terrible. So I apologize for that, guys. All of these little bolts have been pretty loose. That one's loose. That's actually the only one that's even close to snug is this one back here. I might have both hands, but I'm going to get on that and get that broke loose. All right. So this is what the bolts look like that are holding them in, like that. And I'm gonna, when I put these back together here, I'm gonna put a little blue Loctite on these. It just makes sense to me to do it. Do as you please, but I'm going to do it for mine. These were way too loose for my liking. We already took this front bushing off. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get the back bushing out of there. And like I said, I apologize. I know you guys really aren't going to be able to see anything. But I'm trying to document it as best I can, guys. I don't even know if I see a bushing back there. Oh, yeah, there he is. Wow, that thing was destroyed. Get it off of there. Yeah. So, I have to raise this up and try to get it in there to get that out of there. I'm gonna have to have both hands, guys. I'll be right. Okay, I'm gonna have to get a little more aggressive with this thing than I wanted to do. So I am gonna go ahead and have all these clips off. And if you see here, this is the shifter cable, kind of shifter position. I'm going to gently pull it off, or try to anyway, so I don't break it. And it should rest. See the loop here? It should rest right there and be fine. Just remember to pull it straight back up and hook it back on before you're done. This gives me the ability to raise the whole shifter up, and you can see maybe under there how that bushing is just completely slap wore out. All right, so I'm gonna raise this up and I'm gonna pull that old bushing out. I'll be right back. Okay, I was able to get that old bushing out of there, and sorry I didn't get a lot of it on film, but I think if you follow what I'm doing here, as you're doing yours, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. And like I said, Ford Tech Make You Loco, it's a Ford channel, great channel. He has a very detailed description and video on how to do this. I suggest going to him if you're gonna battle this process. This one will get you through it. His will get you through it better. I'm gonna show you. This right here is the Dorman part number. Get you in here. The Dorman part number for the replacement bushings. And they're called steering shift tube bushings. All right, part number 905-107. This is what they look like. Like that. And basically, you get them in there, and this piece sets in the middle of these two lips. And that's what keeps it from going crazy. Just like that. So I want to try to clean this up in there, but there's the bushings there. This is a steering shift pin right here. Sometimes they get really wore out here. This does have slack. I'm probably going to go ahead and change it. I did buy it. Like I said, I think total this was $14 for both of these at AutoZone. But this is Dorman part number 924-440. It's a shift lever pin. I'll show you what it looks like. Right there. It is keyed in a way. There it is. All right. Try this again. Camera is acting stupid. You see the little slotted place here on this bushing. It will spread out. You don't want to get crazy with it, but it'll spread out and go over this tube right there. Like, I'm not going to actually do it just yet because I'm going to do the back one first, but I'll show you when I get to this one. Let me get the back one on. Just like so. Now, since we've taken both of these caps off, we're going to have to pull this gear shifter back into its actual place here so it'll seat. Okay, so remember that when you're doing it. I'm going to go ahead and hook my line back up, a little wire back up. Just like so. Get back on there. Just like that. Popped it back in place. Like I said too, I am going to use some Loctite on these bolts to keep them from coming back out. So let me get started on that part of it. I'll show you guys more of what I'm doing when I get back up here to the front. It's the same for the back as the front, so this will be easier to film, I think. So bear with me. All right, so I basically took my fingernail and I cleaned this out right here. I'm gonna clean it out a little bit more, but you want these to be clean. If they've got debris in them, you do want to clean them out. So make sure you do that as well. On Loctite, a dab will do you, especially in this situation. So that's plenty, it's good to go. All right. Above and beyond anything else, you need to make sure that the saddle is, you see the bushing on each side of it. Just like that. I'm gonna snug this down with my fingers and do the same on the other one. Kind of want to check everything. Everything is in place. Now we do still have the slack in this part of the shifter we're going to try to deal with in a minute. We're going to go ahead and torque these down to 1,000,000 inch-pounds. Just kidding. I don't know a torque value on it. I'm just going to snug them down pretty good. That's going to be my approach to it. All right, we have these all 4 bolts Loctited, put in. I snugged them up pretty hefty with my wrench, guys. I wouldn't get too crazy and bust any of this cast in here, because you could probably do that pretty easy. But you do want them snug. You don't want them coming loose, because I think that has a lot to do with it. I think these come loose and then the bushing moves and then everything goes the way of the dinosaur after that. We'll see about getting this pin out and see if we can do anything to alleviate some of this extra slack right here that we're having. Not sure I can. I'm gonna do a little tap-a-roo. I'm guessing this is how this pin comes out, guys. And hey, do not damage this line right here. This wiring goes up to your overdrive and it can malfunction, it can rub, it can cause problems. A lot of times if your overdrive button is messed up or flashing or not working properly at all, you want to take this off and check this out. It disconnects from this connector right here. I'm just going to try to push it out of the way, not mess with the connector if I can. You want to pay attention to how this line was routed in here, because you probably need it to go back that way. Just knock this pin out. Just tap it out with a hammer. All right, got my pliers here. Just going to try to wiggle it out without destroying anything. Like so. Maybe I can get my hand now. Yeah. There's definitely some wear on this pin. I'll clean it up maybe and show you guys. I don't know, you probably can see it, but there's quite a bit of wear on this pin. So we're going to take the new pin. Bam. And basically we'll just slide it right back in its spot, you know. Pretty cool. May require wiggling around a little bit to get it lined up, where you can actually see. Goes in its spot. It's pretty snug down in its spot, so I'm not sure if and I think it's lined up. It seems to be. So I'm going to tap that on in there. I'm right-handed and everything I'm doing is being left-handed for you guys to see, so. Now, it's still got some slack in it. So this obviously did not fix the whole entire thing. And actually, a little bit of slack like that can, you know, be big slack at other spots. I wish I had some type of wedge to drive in here. I don't know. We may come back and revisit this. I may order a new shifter. But we'll go with this for right now. We've definitely improved our situation compared to what it was. So I'm just gonna push this all back up into place and tighten some stuff down, and then we'll just test it out from there. Where it needs to be, and it kind of clips in right there, guys. Right there. Make sure it's sliding over this pin right here, and it just kind of pushes down in place. Go in, go in. You want to be gentle with it if you can, guys, because it will break. This is old technology. Yeah, well, it's old plastic. But if you just work with it, trying to get too frustrated, it will go back in its place. And I try to carefully not turn this, so hopefully it lines back up. It goes like this. With this little piece of metal, it's going to be facing this way. toward us. Slide it back in, pop it back into place. Just like that. It'll seat itself pretty easy. I'm gonna put it back in the off position now. I'm gonna remove our tilt rod. Put in on our bottom. If we can find our bottom piece, there it is. Probably should clean all this, but nah, we'll worry about that later. You know, put it off. We gotta get it back in its spot. Remember, there are 3 long screws that go from the bottom, and then we have that one short screw that goes from the side. And guys, that's pretty self-explanatory. We'll put this all back together and we'll move on. Okay, so we still have our panel bottom part to go back on. I had got a weak battery on this truck and I got to get figured out. Anyway, and I'm working on this dang seat. Come on, work. Just gonna kind of test and see how the shifter feels and all that good stuff, and we'll try to back out of here and see how this shifter feels now. Hey, it's definitely a lot tighter than it was. Definitely better than it was. Almost run over our chalk here. You know, I'm pretty sure it's not going to fix our major problems that we're having. Yeah, that's shift selector switches. There's definitely something going on with that. Now this truck wants to run pretty bad. So we either need to get an adjustment on the linkage, which may be a big part of it as well. Well, we definitely made some improvements, guys, on the shifter. Definite improvements. Not nearly as sloppy, but I do think we do have some issues still down below on the linkage, and then obviously the transmission range sensor. I think that we need to get that changed, and then moving on from that, I think we need to go back to the knowing that we still have to remove the transmission because we do have a leak, and that leak needs to be fixed. So, but we did get some accomplishments this week, getting that shifter where it's not nearly as sloppy, getting the ForScan and being able to diagnose this truck properly. I think we're on the right track. I think we're going to be okay, guys. So that's probably it for this week on this video. I know it's short, sweet, and doesn't have a lot to it, but I think that the content that is in this video is actually very good and usable content. So if you have any questions, comments, be sure to leave them below. Thanks for liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel, guys. I have very small goals, and we're getting there. I'd really like to get 1,000 subscribers. That would help out a lot. So if you're watching and you haven't subscribed, if you want to follow along with this project and a few other projects that I have coming up, just hit that subscribe button, hit that notification. It's free to do, and yeah, it'll be great. Thank you guys for joining us. See you next time.